All right, so let's talk perks. So Muhammad and Joseph Smith both enjoyed some rather, let's say, self-serving divine exemptions when it came to marriage. Muhammad could marry beyond the usual 4-wife limit, and Joseph Smith, he took things way further with over 30 wives, including some already married. Sounds pretty convenient, right? When you're the prophet, I guess the rules don't necessarily apply to you. And this is just one of 15 very shady parallels between Islam and Mormonism. If you want the full story, including the time they both got manipulated by demons, gotta check out the full video linked in the description of this one. You will not believe what's on this list. So let's talk about how both Muhammad and Joseph Smith managed to snag themselves some pretty special marital privileges, conveniently beyond what was permitted to their followers. In Islam, the Quran generally limits men to 4 wives, as we've already discussed in Surah 4:3. But for Muhammad, no. The rules don't apply to him. In Surah 33:50, Allah gave Muhammad a special divine exemption, allowing him to exceed the standard 4-wife limit. So while the average guy had to stick to the 4-wife limit, Muhammad was blessed with a customized marriage plan straight from God. Joseph Smith wasn't about to miss on the fun either. According to Doctrine and Covenants 132, polygamy wasn't just divinely sanctioned, it was essential for exaltation in the afterlife. But Smith didn't just stop at your average polygamy. He took it further, marrying at least 30 women, including some who were already married to other men. This practice of polyandry, something not extended to his followers, was justified by Smith as part of God's grand plan. Doctrine and Covenants 132 explicitly outlines polygamy and includes special provisions for Joseph Smith, granting him the authority to perform these marriages as part of his prophetic mission. But that's not all. William Clayton, Joseph Smith's personal secretary, kept a journal documenting many of these revelations and marriages. His entries confirm that Smith married women who were already married to other men, something the average Mormon was not allowed to do. Clayton's journal shows how Smith's marital practices were presented as divinely commanded, giving him greater marital freedoms than anyone else in the community. Essentially, Smith had a special pass from God to operate by his own set of relationship guidelines, while his followers were held to a much different standard. Now, what's really striking here is how both Muhammad, it's obvious, but both Muhammad and Joseph Smith granted themselves greater marital freedoms under the guise of divine approval. And let's be honest about this, this is exactly what you'd expect from a false prophet. Create self-serving exemptions while pretending it's all part of some big divine plan. It's actually the perfect setup for a false prophet. Use religion to justify your own personal desires while your followers get stuck with the more restrictive rule set. In stark contrast, Jesus Christ never sought additional privileges for himself. He didn't carve out special rules for his own benefit. Instead, Jesus lived by the same moral and ethical standard he taught to everyone else. No extra wives, no wives at all, no hidden exceptions, just the same moral responsibility he expected from his followers. Christianity emphasizes that equal moral responsibility is expected of all believers, standing in sharp contrast to the self-serving exemptions Muhammad and Joseph Smith gave themselves. Okay, so if you thought that was wild, we're only scratching the surface. In the full video, we dive into 15 eerie parallels between Islam and Mormonism, everything from demonic manipulation to polygamy and even divine loopholes for marrying close relatives. The full video is linked in the description, or you can just click on it right here. Trust me, you're gonna wanna watch every single second.